Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Katie Pura. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. March is Women's Month. I wanted to create a series that was supportive and celebratory of women. And I'm a big fan and I'm very supportive of women in entrepreneurship. I think becoming an entrepreneur as a female is very courageous and it's very empowering. I can definitely relate to that. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur myself, and so I really wanted to highlight women, and particularly women who hold parts of minority groups, to share about their businesses, to share a little bit about what inspired their businesses. And this is why I created the Women in Entrepreneurship series for this month, Women's Month. So for today's video, I have two special guests, Melissa Andre and Bethzy Quintana. And so I'm really excited for you guys to learn from them. I definitely learned from these two women. And so we have a discussion about what it means to be women in entrepreneurship. Guys, so this is part 2 of the Women in Entrepreneurship series. And in this final part, Mel and Bethzy both discuss what were their challenges as well as successes in becoming entrepreneurs and starting their own businesses. And they also share advice for aspiring female entrepreneurs. So I'm so excited for you guys to see the part 2s. If you are interested in this conversation, then keep on watching. So what are some of the successes you have had with your business so far?
So for me, actually, we're still kind of in like the premature phase where our name's not out there quite yet. We're still working out some of the kinks of marketing, and we're still kind of like trying to figure out ways to kind of produce a bigger, better name for us. And it's kind of hard because our candles are actually organic and vegan for Mel. They are, yes. They are, because of all of the things that go into a candle. I think one of the things that people don't realize and has helped us kind of sell. And I think our biggest thing is that, like, the first time we sold a candle, I was like, yes, we actually did it. Like, it was like a stepping stone, right? But now we've actually expanded, and we're on social media. Pure Heart Candles actually has, we have like 800 followers right now. We're trying to make those followers into, clients, but we also have a lot of clients that are local that don't really know our product that we want to kind of share. But just in general, like taking off as quickly as we did, like so this was a project that I wanted to start back in last November-ish, maybe even before then, maybe like summertime. And then I remember I bought like a bunch of fragrances for Christmas because we're like, it's Christmas, it's coming, we're gonna do this. I did tons of research on how to make a candle clean. And that's, I think, like the biggest part of any business is research, right? So we researched, and I was like so excited, and nothing happened. And I think like once we started, pushing forward and kind of making people like that awareness of, hey, I don't have just any candle. This is it's literally the only chemical it has in it. It's the oil. The wick is clean, and I spend all this time for that because I want to provide that comfort of saying, oh, I can light this candle in my house and not, people don't have allergies or, but like the fact that once I stepped in and it kind of took off, like, I was like, this is working, like people, and we are still kind of working towards like that marketing and kind of getting our name out there and kind of producing more product, because again, self-care is kind of where we're going, like, or what we're going for. There's so much things that we have in line right now that I feel like if we can get like just the awareness of the candles and kind of get that coming, people will come back for everything else. So like, that first like jump of like, yes, I sold my first candle to now we're sold over 100, like, you know, that in that short amount of time, because we literally launched like everything, website, candles, everything in end of January. And it's now March. So that's pretty good considering we just started, like, you know, like, hey, this is my product, you know? So I think that stepping stone has definitely helped.
And I really like what you said. And I'm going to say to everyone out there who is thinking about being an entrepreneur is celebrate your small victories and your large victories, and celebrate everything in between as well. When you're an entrepreneur, especially in those first 2 years, this is where it's ebb and flow, ebb and flow. Like this is how it's going to go. Some months is going to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could make that much money. Right. And then the next month is going to be like, where's that money? So celebrate your big and your small wins. And it's something that's extremely important. And if you're in this for the long run, you're going to have to know that you have to hold on to those victories as well, because it is challenging to start a business. It is challenging to be an entrepreneur, whether you want to be self-employed or a sole proprietor, or whether you want to form a corporation that you want to take public one day. At the end of the day, there are going to be challenges. And the way that you overcome those challenges is holding on to those big wins and those small wins as well. Whether it's you made your first dollar or whether you just sold your 10,000th product, you have to hold on to those. And throughout the years, I've had so many victories in my businesses that I love to celebrate, whether they were small or whether they were big, whether they were landing the contract with the University of Maryland, or whether it was my client celebrating that they lost 1 pound in the fitness industry. So today I'm celebrating different types of victories with my other company. I have to say this, the fact that I wrote books, like the fact that I wrote books that you can go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, you can go different places, is a big victory for me. But the fact that they were international bestsellers. When I wrote, so this was my first book, Be Unstoppable. When I wrote this book, I didn't think anyone was going to read it. I wrote it, I put it out there. And around that time, I was actually speaking at an international conference a couple of years ago that was really based in Australia, but it was virtual. And I put it out around the same time I put this book out. And this became an international bestseller because I was speaking there. I had people in India, people in Brazil, people in England, people in Scotland. I had people all across the globe, Canada, reading my words. And that was something that I really did celebrate. And then we have Thoughts, where these books are coming out every year, where it's very similar to like the Chicken Soul book, where people go ahead and write their stories, and then we publish their stories in these books. I think this is something that's a huge accomplishment, because I believe that everyone has a right to tell their stories, and I'm giving people the opportunity with these books. And even my TV show. So this is the one that I'm really excited about. Is I'm on TV. I have a show on Roku, Apple, and Amazon Fire, and that was completely by accident. Everyone's like, Mel, you moved to California to be on TV, right? Like that, and it happened quickly. I was like, no. So I was very much comfortable in front of a camera. I was shooting live videos every day, going hiking and talking about confidence. And someone emailed me, who happened to be my producer now, and she was like, hey, Mel, you want to be on TV, this and that? And I was like, sure. I thought I was going to be on someone's TV show. And we're like, go talk about the meeting. And I had to switch my pitch real quick, because I thought she was asking me to be on her show. And she's like, so Mel, do you want to have your own show? And I was like, oh crap. So in my head, I was like, okay, so now let me switch this really quick. To this day, I don't think she knows that I didn't know that.
She might today though.
Exactly. I do know, so she does watch some of my interviews and stuff. So she may be like, oh, Mel, you never told me that. So it's in the next meeting that's coming up, because season 2 is actually coming on. But because of these small victories that I had, like coming out to California and relaunching different businesses in California, which to me was like a smaller goal, it kept me going when times got hard, because times did get hard. I mean, there's this time where I was going through some year of hell, where every 2 to 3 weeks something would go wrong. And I mean, I was walking my dog, I fell down a manhole. I got into 3 freak accidents back to back to back. Ouch. One of my best friends tried to kill himself. I mean, someone in my family passed away. Every 2 to 3 weeks, something horrible would happen. Mm-hmm. I almost lost my business because of everything. I mean, everything was going wrong. My mindset wasn't right. But when you hold on to these small victories, when you know that you've already accomplished something, and when you can look to the future and see that hope, it allows you to keep going. So
Mhm.
me saying this long-winded kind of stories, I'll say this to everyone out there. I know the question is like, oh, what victories did you have? And I'll tell you my victories. I have no problem bragging. I'm not the most humble person, and I have no problem bragging. But at the end of the day, I want to tell people out there, whether it's a small victory, because your small victory could be, I came up with a name for my company. That is a victory right there. Whether it's a small victory or whether it's a huge victory, really hold on and really celebrate those. And don't be ashamed to celebrate them. Even if people around you are like, okay, whatever, you pick the name, you have the right to celebrate. You have the right to be your own cheerleader. So be your own cheerleader. And if you don't think anyone's cheering you on, I want you to know that I am cheering you on. So
I like what you said about this. Yeah, I really like what you say about the small victories that sometimes we're like, oh, but I haven't done this or I haven't met this milestone, but definitely you could start your victory. I mean, celebrate each victory. And also the fact that you like Rachel Hollis has this like collection, I think it's called Start Today. And I was really motivated with some of the things I bought from her, and it's all about starting today, you know? And so I think even starting on a day that you're not motivated, even just starting, and every step you take, it's kind of like an extra step you're taking towards that business or towards that goal. So
I think in general, like any step that you take, so like you took a step, you should celebrate that, because that is one step closer to whatever your goal is. And sometimes I think when you have a thought in your head, like Mel was saying, like, yeah, you may not think it's a victory, but like it's a victory. Like I think that's kind of what has also motivated just me in general. So like I have 3 boys, which is crazy, and a husband. And we literally sat on a table, like when we did our Lego, like our name, we were trying to come up with just a name. And it took 3 pages of like notes. Yeah. You're like, and you're writing all this stuff down, and you're writing all this stuff down, and you're writing all this. And then you're like Googling just to make sure somebody else doesn't have that name, right? You know, you're like, somebody have this name because it's a really cool name, you know? And then like you're Googling, you're like, oh, crap. Like somebody has that, you know, or you have an idea of what you want, and you don't know how to mesh it together. And then finally it meshes, you know? And like for us, that's how Pure Heart Candle came. Like my kids literally named my product. They're like, I have 2 9-year-olds and an 8-year-old to thank for naming this awesome product, you know, because they kept grabbing different names and different things. And finally we're like, what do we do? Like every name that we've come up with is taken. Like, and at that point I was like, maybe this is not a good thing. Like maybe it's not the right time, you know? And they were like, no, we're not leaving this table until we come up with a name. And so once we came up with a name that actually worked, that we liked it, and it worked for what we were looking for, we were like, victory, you know, like, yes, we did it, you know, it motivated us to keep going. Now let's look for a logo. What do I want our logo to look like? What do we stand for? What do we, you know? And so like, it kind of like you taking that first step, I think motivates you to kind of keep going. Because if you don't take that first step, no matter what you're doing, it could be selling pencils. You know, if you don't take the chance to actually say, hey, look, I have a pencil, you know, you're not going to do anything for yourself. And like Mel says, you have to be your own cheerleader, no matter what you do, no matter who's behind you, no matter how you started, whether you by yourself, you with someone else, it doesn't matter. You have to kind of take those in and kind of push forward. You know,
what are some challenges that you've experienced, and how have you overcome them?
Oh, I have challenges every day, girl. What challenges are we talking about? It kind of depends on what you mean. But as an entrepreneur, I think in general, every day is a challenge. You don't know if you're going to sell something every day. Every day, trying to come up with a new product is a challenge. Trying to come up with something that you don't know if people are even going to like. You know, I started with a candle, and I'm like, I don't know. I like candles, you know, like I'm not doing it for myself, but like I like candles, like, And then, you know, and I used to hear a lot of negativity from a lot of people, like, oh, well, there's like Bed Bath and Beyond has candles, and Bath and Body Works has candles, and Yankee Candle, you know, like there's so many things that you're kind of like, oh yeah, like how am I going to compete with that? And I just basically took it as I'm not in competition. I am here to produce something that I know is going to be a great product. And that, I think, has been my biggest challenge, to get out of that mindset of everybody else has this or everybody else has that. And I think in general, being a woman, being a mother, you know, that has created challenges all on its own. You know, I'm producing a product. I have to take care of my kids. I have a husband. I have a house. So like all of this comes into like a bubble, and it's like, I feel like that's like my biggest challenge, is trying to play all those hats and put on all those hats at the same time. And, you know, sometimes you lose focus of what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that's the even greater challenge, is to stay focused, still wear those hats, but kind of stay focused, you know? And I don't know, like every day to me, that's my challenge. Like get up every morning, do what I need to do, still stay motivated to produce, to continue to sell, to continue to, you know, post on social media. And there's just so much that comes with it. But at the end of the day, you end up feeling proud of yourself and celebrating that victory. Like, yes, I finally did it. Or, oh, so, you know, I finally did this, or I, you know, finally put a post on social media. So like every day I feel like there's challenges, but it's how you choose to overcome them.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
So my biggest challenge today is doing an interview with a full-on allergy attack and trying not to have like tears coming down my eyes during an interview. But
it's like I'm not crying, I promise.
I'm not crying. Like I'm not sad. It's not a breakdown. It's allergies that I just came about. But we all have challenges. I'm going to say this before I talk about. There's plenty of challenges. You want to hear about challenges? Grab the books. It's just filled with lots of challenges. But I'll say this too, because I was actually going to say it, and then you asked this question. I was like, oh, it fits in perfectly. Celebrate your challenges and your mistakes too. Because I'm telling you, sometimes those mistakes, those challenges are going to be the things that actually push you to where you need to be, or push you to more money. So don't look at challenges and mistakes as the end of the world, because sometimes that's exactly what needed to happen to get you that $10,000 sale, to sign that big contract. You'll hear it with celebrities all the time where they say, you know, I really wanted this role, and I thought I wanted it, but if I would have took this role, I wouldn't have got this role, with like shot me to celebrity. So look at mistakes, look at challenges as learning opportunities. Sometimes you need to celebrate them, because they can be exactly what you need to get where you want to go. I know we're so hyper-focused sometimes. It's like, this is what I want to do, and only this, and this is what's going to get me there. But there's another path that God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, pushes you there. And that's the better path for you. That's going to actually get you there. So be thankful for the mistakes as well, for the challenges. I've gone through a lot of challenges in my life, especially during the time of being an entrepreneur. You know, I've had months where I made a lot of money, and I've had months where I've made $250. And it can be a challenge, and it can be frustrating. I know there's this one point where I said the year of hell, when everything went bad for me. I mean, I almost lost everything. I almost lost my beautiful loft. I had a beautiful loft in the middle of the city. I almost lost that. I almost lost my company. I almost lost everything. And that was a challenging year for me. But I got back on my feet, and I ended up keeping everything, because I learned from the challenges. I pushed forward. But there's always going to be some kind of challenge in your life. I mean, there's times where I needed to get to a very important meeting and my car broke down, and that's an everyday challenge. There's challenges where, gosh, this is something that's going to come for many entrepreneurs, where you have to fire an employee because your employee made a huge mistake and cost you a lot of money, which I've been there as well. So at the end of the day, there's going to be challenges in your life. There's going to be a lot of things that you think is the quitting point. I'm going to tell you, keep going. You may have to reroute, you may have to go around things, but you have to keep going. And I'm going to say, keep your head up as well. I'll say one thing about me: if I'm going through a challenging time, no one knows about it because I always still give that appearance of, I'm going to keep going. And it's not because I'm trying to put up a facade. It's like, oh, I'm great. It's because I know that even during dark times, it's going to be okay. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I can get through it. So you'll never see me completely break down because I know that I can overcome it. And coming to COVID-19, I'm going to tell you right now, this year has been a very hard year for almost everyone, unless you're in real estate. If you're in real estate, congratulations, because you had a great year. I don't know what's playing with the housing market this year, but man, I should have been a real estate agent just for this year. It's not really for me, but it's been a hard year for many people, for many entrepreneurs. Some of you real estate agents, okay, big up to you guys. But it's been a hard year for many people. I'll say that my company, Scalable Fitness, really didn't make that much money this year. I have a very good friend of mine. He is a surgeon. He owns multiple businesses. He's saying, again, he's a doctor in private practice, and he's saying that his private practice, who has multiple doctors, it's a huge practice. They made 50% of what they made last year. Mm-hmm. So right now we're in a situation where most businesses are going through some kind of challenge because of a global pandemic. And I know when you were talking about having the candles during Christmas, like I was like, okay, you know what? It's a tough year. But my time is Black Friday, we make so much money on Black Friday every single year. Like Black Friday is a time where like I was stressed. I was like, oh wait, Black Friday is coming. I got nothing. Because like statistically, it doesn't matter. Black Friday's there. I make money. People think, oh, fitness industry, that's January. No. Everyone's thinking about it in November.
Right.
I was waiting for those sales to come in. People are like, Mel, it's hard. So there's going to be challenges, but you got to keep your head above water, right? Yeah. So you have to keep thinking forward and know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, whether it's, okay, I got to switch tracks and try something else to get to it, or whether I got to try harder, or whether I just got to ride out the wave. I surf, so like ride out the waves, the term that I'm going to use. But like things are going to happen. So things are happening. And I bring up COVID-19 because we're in it, but I know a lot of people are suffering during COVID-19, and many people are thinking about shutting their doors. And I know it can be hard. If you can keep the doors open, keep the doors open. I know there's light at the end of the tunnel. If you have to shut your doors during COVID-19, like many businesses have to, I want to let you know that you're not a failure. And this is something that happens to many businesses and that you can continue. If this was something that was your passion, this was something that was your dream, and you had to shut your doors this year because of COVID-19, it's okay. I feel for you. I don't want people to think that being like cold, like, oh, just keep going. Like, no, I feel for you. I know it's hard. I know many people put their hearts, their savings, and everything into business, and many businesses are closing down right now. I feel for you, but know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you want to continue doing your business, you can. And there are ways that you can get right back on that saddle, get right back on that surfboard, and ride the wave out and reopen in a couple of years and put your passion back out there, even if it's in a different way, even if you had to close your physical doors, but now there's an online way, there are ways. So I feel for you, but know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You can keep going if you want to.
Yeah. Well, lastly, I want to ask you, what advice would you give to aspiring female entrepreneurs? What advice or words of encouragement would you share with them?
For me is keep going. Just have an idea, make it yours, and keep going. Like, don't, like Mel says, don't give up. The minute that you give up is the minute that you give up on yourself. And it's the minute that you give up on everything that you've pretty much planned in your little head, in your dream bubble. And just keep going. Also, write down goals. My husband used to tell me this all the time, and I'm like, like, I'm not listening to you, like, whatever. But actually, that's what I think has kind of pushed us, like, to kind of, okay, by this time, we want to do this. By this time, spring's coming, Mother's Day's coming. Let's try to do this. Let's try to do that. Let's, and that kind of gives you a timeline and also holds you accountable for what you want to do. Everybody's goals kind of fold in a different time. And honestly, I feel like when it's your time, it's your time. It might not be exactly when you want to, but if you hold on to something, it'll come. If you're motivated, it'll come. And I can tell you, because just a little background story, I wasn't a nurse all the time. I did this long haul of I did this and I did that or whatever before I even became a nurse. And if I would have stuck, like, I look back and I'm like, okay, if I would have done what I should have done, what everybody was telling me to do at the age of 21, 22, like who thinks at that time? No one. And say, hey, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to finish and I'm going to, and there are people that do that, I've seen even now, like there's a lot of nurses that are 22, 24, 26. I feel like that's great. But for me, and I was really hard on myself for this because I'm like, oh, I became a nurse at almost 30, and I had kids at almost 30. I mean, kids are a totally different thing, but like, I kind of felt like I started my career later in life versus if I would have started earlier, I would have had all this massive experience. But quite honestly, I don't think any of that, or I would be who I am right now if I didn't go through those failures. If I didn't learn from my mistakes, if I didn't take that long way, I would have not appreciated my patients. I feel like that's like the biggest thing. Like a lot of nurses kind of lose that compassion and that empathy. And I feel like that kind of stuck with me because I became a nurse to help people. I became a nurse because I'm a nurturing person. So same kind of thing with my business. I want to help people, even if it's in a different way. I want to use my degree, my knowledge of health, my knowledge of, or my background knowledge of health to kind of go into a different way of caring for yourself, caring for people, caring for your health. And there's a lot of things in works for that. But if I would have given up at that point in time, or if I would have been like, oh, this is it for me, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And I wouldn't have the motivation to keep going and producing and opening a new business, opening another business. Like there's so many things that I do. And everybody always says, hey, like, how do you do all that? Like, how do you have the energy to continue? And it's like Mel said, no one knows when I'm failing. No one knows. No one knows my sacrifices. No one knows any of that because I hide it, one, very well. But two, if I let that consume me, I wouldn't move forward. If I let all my failures consume everything that I've done, I would not move forward. My family wouldn't move forward. And I think in general, I wouldn't be able to help anybody. If you're in that negative hole, you can't help anyone else. And if that's your goal, to help people, you can't kind of sit there, because you can't help yourself. You can't help someone else. So that's where I kind of like push forward to kind of, that's my motivation. That's what I want people to understand, that you can do it no matter what phase of your life you're in. Just hold on to it and keep moving forward. Keep swimming, like Dory says.
So I definitely want to say, set the goal, go after the goal, but enjoy the journey.
Yes.
We are in a time of instant gratification. I post that picture. I want 100 likes right now. If you want something, I go on Amazon. Gosh, 2 days like I'm sometimes like annoyed. 2 days shipping on Amazon Prime. Love Amazon Prime, but can I get it today? If I can get it today, I'd be happier. We are in the world of instant gratification, and if you want to be an entrepreneur, instant gratification is not going to be the way that goes. All these overnight successes that you know about, you don't know about the 10, 15, 20 years that it took to get them to where they are. I mean, even I was actually talking about Philip Knight, the guy who founded Nike. Everyone's like, oh, Nike, big brand. He started that as a kid in grad school, and he started at the company as Blue Ribbon. He was working with the Japanese. There were so many times when the company was going to fail, but Blue Ribbon turned into Nike, was turned into this conglomerate. So these overnight successes don't happen overnight. So be prepared for the journey, but not only be prepared for the journey, sit back and enjoy the journey as well, because those are going to be the things that you write about in your book. Those are going to be the things that you talk back about. And these are going to be the opportunities to learn the things you need to learn to be that success that you want to be. And I say this to many people, is that you want to be the millionaire tomorrow, but if you don't take the steps there, you won't know how to manage that $1 million. So this journey is something that is so, so important. So set that big goal, set the tiny goals, the little stepping stones, but also enjoy the journey, enjoy learning, enjoy the process. Even when it gets stressful, know that it's a journey and that it's going to come, but it takes time. Sometimes it takes some rerouting too, but set the goal. And I want to be very, very important. Actually set the goal, go after it. So set it through the action. Don't just set the goal and be like, okay, it's coming. and look at it. You have to use an action.
Yeah.
So set the goal, do the actions, but enjoy the journey,
The
because
journey.
Mm.
I
it's not
love that.
not Star Trek. We can't transport to each
Yeah,
other. Like, beam me
keep
up, Scotty.
going, keep going, and enjoy the journey.
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I learned so much from you both already, and I'm sure our viewers will learn as well. Where can they find you?
So for us, we are on Instagram. We're at Pure Heart Candles. We also have a website at Pure Heart Candle, not with an S. For some reason, I couldn't put the S there. .com, and we're loading up actually a lot of new product coming soon. So we have not only just candles, we also have a lot of other body products that we're kind of working on. So lotions, organic lotions, we're working on body butters, we're working on rod diffusers, we're working on car scents with multiple use waxes, and what the other interest I'm looking at as well is cosmetic scare, like skincare products, because a lot of my kids have like eczema and stuff. So I'm like, we've got to treat that. So naturally. So we're looking into a lot of other stuff like that. So
That's great. I love your setup, by the way. That looks so relaxing.
yes, this is my,
The
you know,
candles.
like my face, my like, and actually I have Orchid of Love. I don't know if you saw that one on the thing, but this one is one of my favorites. A lot of people kind of downsize it because they think floral and they think like really strong. And this one's actually not. It's very, very light, orchid, jasmine. It's just very like
Sweet for spring.
yes, it's tranquil. I like it.
And then you can find me at melmandre.com. So that's melmandre.com. And then you can also email me at book@melmandre.com. And actually, so the day that this video launches, but only the day that this video launches, so you can't contact me tomorrow or the next day, you can still contact me. But if you message me at book@melmandre.com and you say Katie sent me, then I can give you a free 30-minute confident coaching session. So remember, only on the day that it launches, email me, Katie sent me at book@melmandre.com, and you can get a free 30-minute confidence session.
That's awesome. So people will know to email you and get that free session. So thank you so much, Bethzy and Mel, for being here. And I learned so much already. So I look forward to people's feedback as well, because I know that this is going to be really helpful for all those female entrepreneurs. Happy Women's Month again. And thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was such a great conversation with both Bethzy and Mel. I'm a big fan of women in entrepreneurship, and I think we all had a lot to learn, and I hope you were left inspired with this series, with this conversation. And let me know if you want more videos like this. I hope you had a great Women's Month. You know, as women, we are strong, we are kind, we're compassionate, we are hustlers, we don't give up. And I think as women of color too, I think as women who hold parts of minority group, and I identify as that, I'm Latina, you know, and so as women who go through different struggles, you know, we can relate, and we can relate to just having to work, I guess, 10 times harder, but also like the beauty in seeing the results of your hard work and being able to empower other women with our stories. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.